Guys, do not buy a used Nissan Dualis unless it's automatic and you've checked it all out. Now, as the end of the year approaches, workshops, especially in the Sydney city, go into a full type of chaos. I've had to actually close my doors today and to even control the fact that I can't even work. Now, I've had my dad on, which is grueling in itself, but there's no mechanics, right? They're bringing mechanics into the dealerships from the Philippines, Bangladesh and all that, and that's great, but traditionally people, you know, the best mechanics are from England, Germany, Italy, France, and all those other countries. I'm not being right. My dad's born in India himself, but generally speaking, it's a total crisis. So I've had to shut my doors now. It's becoming very difficult to make videos. I really want to go through it all, like protecting the ABS sensor up there and a bit of sponge, but I can't. Okay, when you're going to buy a used Nissan Dualis with a dual mass flywheel, okay, and it's going to rattle around and blow up the concentric built-in slave cylinder, which on a Japanese car's outside with 2 bolts, even though it's Japanese, it's a Renault, right? Now, I heard about these. Customers were going, oh, can you do the clutch on my Dualis? Nissan wants $5,000. And I'm like, look, I don't want to do it. I don't know what $5,000 is. We've got to be careful in this game. You can't just go, oh, they're trying to rip you off. But I just laughed. I thought, that's impossible. I mean, I do clutches on Audi turbos and stuff, and it's not $5,000. Well, it can be with those cars because there's no end to the water housings and all that garbage that leaks. But this is just unacceptable. The CV joints were seized up completely in the hubs. The car's never been in salt. You can see immediately, you see sacks on the shocks. It's a European car. And it all, it's not the end of the world. Over here, I've chosen to actually support the engine with this stand because it gives me adjustability that I can now do this on my own and not have to call my father in and, hear all the yelling and the bullshit that goes with an old, grumpy old mechanic, which I've now become, right? I'm over it. I'm over it. This shop's sold and it's closing and I'm closing it early. So I'm going to have to take a new direction with my videos for the time being as, I'm burned out, guys. Like, I can't do it. I can't have 20 people walking in the workshop yesterday, coming around. They love it. Like, you get people, and they're usually the desperados. They just don't listen. They'll walk in here and go, oh, can you, my Range Rover, and I'm like, get the fuck out of the workshop. Get out. Like, get out. So what you got a lot of is bad workmanship in Australia. You've got a lot of liars and people saying, oh, can you service my car? By the way, can you tell if the radiator's been changed because it's still overheating, mate? Any of you that are mechanics that hear this and you're young and you're motivated and you want to help, that Range Rover will give you the experience you need to become the best. But there's a time in my life I've got to go fuck off. And the thing is, when you've got such good Google reviews, right? Now it's this thing with Google. It's like, but I'll wait. I've got clutches booked in a month ahead. I'm not doing them. I'm going to ring them up and tell them I'm not going to be here because the dirt in Surrey Hills, the dust, the abuse, the punch-ups. I mean, I got held up by junkies and I held them up. Hey guys, I shut my gate. I pinned them down with metal bars over here, 2 junkies, and held them hostage in my workshop right here. Okay, last year. So at the end of the day, one thing is I've had enough, right? There's the lemon out there. I've had enough. Okay, the shop's sold and I can't work in a 40-something degree workshop with all the dust and pollen and all that. So it's coming to an end. I'll tell you that now, Petru. But for now, I mean, Petru, you inspired me because I might make some used car videos. All I got to do is find a car on a street that I know which is nearly all of them, and, you know, maybe do a bit of research into why the pistons blow on that X-Trail and, you know, take this to another dimension. Like, not, I don't want to be a big YouTuber. I'm saying, like, I don't think it'll support me. But, yeah, guys, this is over. This is ending. It's very sad. There's a big story behind it. But basically, all the workshops in the inner city are sold, much like in New York. Now, when you're going to buy a used Nissan Dualis, get ready for this thing to explode at 70,000 Ks or whenever it wants, and then be up for over, like, even here. Okay, now that I've put a solid flywheel in, not a dual mass flywheel. Right? The list price on this clutch kit is $3,000. Now, I'm not going to charge him that. That's an unreasonable markup. There's a huge markup in that, I'll be honest with you. But you know what? I bet everyone else does. Okay, so then 8 hours. Okay, it took me 3 hours to get the two shit CV joints out, this piece of shit, right? Now, the guy's not had any problems. In many areas, this is a Japanese car. Okay? You can see here what I've done to get the gearbox out. Oh, we have hung the engine. No, okay. So there's a time you have to hang the engine, and then I support it with this underneath. Okay. Now I can't go into how to do the job, but I'm just saying, use Nissan Dualis. If you add up the fact, if you go off road in this heap of junk Renault, right? Renault hybrid, these bushes totally get decimated, and this whole, like, I mean, what's the process of replacing them? I wonder. You know, I'm not going to do that, and I never will. Okay, the whole subframe, I mean, they're welded. I mean, you need a new subframe, from what I can see. You're fucked, right? I don't know. Maybe I'm an idiot. But at the end of the day, these Renault-type cars, the X-Trail, the Dualis, I can hear my voice beginning to tremor. I'm just angry because so many innocent people buy these cars, and it is the better one of a bad bunch. Okay, but they're getting hammered, guys. You know, it's not a bad car. I would take this any day over an X-Trail. Okay, any day. But a bad X-Trail. But at the end of the day, what happens when you get the wrong mechanic doing this job? Your car is ruined. You might as well just throw it away. So unless you're going to get it cheap, if you're going to buy a manual Dualis, okay, of this era, okay, get ready to put $4,000 aside, okay, or $3,000, or whatever the hell it is. Right now, in this job, I said to the guy, I'm not reusing your brake pads. The guy is struggling at the moment, maybe a little bit, like with you know, I can't give him a price because I don't know, okay. When I took one of the CV joints out, this seal was damaged. Okay, very rare, but it happens. It was damaged. Now, bear in mind, this seal and the other one are different sizes. Different sizes. Also, I can't go into it now because I don't know, but there are plugs all over the place. Differential. You know, there's one up here. Okay, there's one down here. Okay, there's something here. I'm sure many people around the world have opened and dropped a pin into the gearbox and overhauled it. I mean, this car's a pitfall for a DIY job. Okay, these clips are like the Ford Focuses I mentioned in previous videos. Though it looks like just I'm whinging, they fuck your life. I mean, pulling on harnesses and, you know, mate, this job is a pitfall. It's better of a bad bunch, but I'd do an A3 Audi over this turbo any day. I mean, this thing's a horrible thing. Okay, and it all looks straightforward, but no, it's not. No, it's not straightforward. No, it's not. The bottom ball joints, the drive shafts were seized up completely. Okay, this one was seized up on the other side. You can see the rust in there. Why the Japanese don't use different things, and, you know, this is on Mazda. If you've got an old Mazda, don't even bother having the CV joints done, because they're going to hit your wheel bearings so hard, then your wheel bearings going to go. So do not buy a new Nissan Dualis without full professional inspection from a mechanic that knows Renault as well. Okay, to look for those floating bushes if the car's been hammered and cleaned up well. You can see here, there's very nice things about this car, okay, and there's very horrible things about this car. I mean, when I look at it, I love this. I think this is great. It's Japanese. It looks Japanese. The rack stays here, but it's not. The fact that I've had to do this job because it's got a concentric slave cylinder, Okay, guys, don't do it. Don't do this job DIY. Every bolt is a different number and a different freaking length. Okay, now the car's been sitting here for ages. I've got to now go and work it all out. It's just bullshit. So, you know, you've got when it seizes up here, which we've now released it. Okay, when it seizes up on this cage, you've got to pull this cage out. Every bolt's a different number. As you can see, I've used the method there, different length. Now, I'm a professional. I can work it out. I mean, if I had to, you could throw those bolts in a box and eventually I'd put nearly all of them in. There'd always be one at the end. You go, oh, where does this go? But man, do not buy or use this in Dualis. Get the thing in auto, and then I don't know the history of the automatics. I've never had a problem with them, but most of them I get a manual. And I kicked 3 of them out last year, and now I know why. No one would do the job. They're like, but no one wants to do it. It looks like it's all straightforward, and it can be if the customer's ready to pay. This guy is going to hit with my mercy and me just going to regret doing it so cheap. Mate, this job's well over $3,000 with discs and pads, etc., etc., etc. I never lost a coolant, lucky ducky. So use this in Dualis. Stay away. Manual, stay away. Auto, get a good inspection and know what you're doing. But allow for repairs. It is a Nissan Tida engine. People don't change spark plugs on them because it's under the manifold. Now that Nissan Tida is just a car from hell. This is a freaking Nissan Tida on steroids. And I'm just horrified. So look, cars get it. You get sudden little spots of corrosion here and there. But you won't really notice. It's a Japanese car. It seems like it's all Japanese, and it's probably 80% Japanese, but just the bits that Renault did just have ruined the whole thing. And that just says so much about how bad the European cars can be. The Europeans just touch the Japanese cars and ruin them. Okay, if this was a real Nissan, okay, it'd be like a Maxima. It'd go on for 300,000 Ks till the paint fell off it and all the seats deteriorate, and then you're like, oh, it still doesn't blow smoke. But no. Engine mounts, you know, electronic issues, ABS sensors, these are all common to the Nissan Tida, but this definitely seems a better car. Bear in mind the Tida's made in India. So the ones I've had, they're gone. I've told the people, just chuck it out. Go and trade it in and get a Corolla. Anyway, hope that helps. Not the worst car in the world. Oh, butterfly moth. Not the worst car in the world, but in manual, just have $4,000 sitting in under the carpet, ready at any moment. Because you never know. And what pisses me off, the way it blew up was on the freeway. It just blew up on the freeway and the guy couldn't get it out of gear. Can you believe it? Can you actually believe it? Like, it's unheard of. It's unheard of. What Nissan Pulsar's ever done that? Okay? You know, yeah, maybe a Triple S boosted up and wrecked at 200,000. You push the clutch and it blows, but even then it's always blown when the car's stationary. To blow while the car's driving at speed, shocking. Absolutely disgusting. Dual mass flywheels are a nightmare. Always have been. Stay away. Stay away.